time on the lesson tee, in the video room, doing their research and doing the stuff that's going to create value. So, some of the things that have been prevalent in the last few years that are very, very important. TPI, the Title Performance Institute, changing the game. This is something that, is anybody TPI certified in here? Nobody. Okay, there you go. So, TPI is really something that is, I think, years ago, I always thought I could fix everybody. And I thought every student had a swing problem and they can do exactly what I want them to do. And we know that's not the case, right? There's physical limitations, right? There's people, especially adults, they're all tight, they sit at the computer all day, they're doing this stuff that's really not creating mobility. And it's important that you interview your students properly, but you also screen them, and there's some really simple tests that you can go through that can help you to figure out why their swing looks the way it does. And every time I see, we've all seen this move here before, where this right arm gets this way, okay, and of course the club's going to push to the outside and they come over the top. Every time I see that, I can just about tell them that they've either got a shoulder injury or they can't do this. And I'm not even that great at it. Tour players get to about right here. Okay, it's called the 90-90 test in TPI. So there's about 8 or 10 screens that are great. I have a guy that I send my players to that is the best in the business. Mark Kane is unbelievable. I have put together a junior program this year called the JETS, Junior Elite Training System. All right, training athletes in the body swing connection that is going to create mobility, stability, athleticism, and then I'm going to teach them how to play golf. Okay, so I'm including fitness with my teaching, which I think is just going to be off the charts. I don't know if you guys saw the special on CNN that they did with Claude Harmon's group in Dubai, but you can Google it. That's what I'm looking to do. That's next level stuff for our students and creating. It starts at a young age. I'm going to do some adult programs as well, but it starts at a young age when we start to get these kids that are starting to not play basketball, football, baseball like we did when we were kids, right? They're just focusing on golf. Well, they're not getting all this other hand-eye coordination stuff like we used to when we were kids, right? Playing baseball and, wiffle ball in the side yard. All they're doing is saying, well, I'm going to play golf. I don't have time for the other stuff. I'm just going to do this because I'm a pretty good player. This is where we need to really start to enhance these kids in their athleticism, creating athletes, and then also injury prevention. Just because they're kids doesn't mean they're not going to get hurt. So, my guy, we put together this program. I'm pretty excited about it. How are the physical limitations affecting their pattern development? It's huge. If you can't get somebody to rotate, how are you going to teach them? We're teaching our students to separate their hips from their shoulders, right? You give them a test like this, and they can't even do this without moving their body all around. There's just no way you're going to be able to get that student to do what you're doing or what you want them to do until you can create some mobility and some flexibility in their body. TPI is huge. So where do you go for help? Well, you either get certified in it. I'm not officially certified in it yet, but I know enough about it to be able to assess my students because I've spent a lot of time with some other TPI guys and also my trainer that I work with, and it's helping all my students. I send all my tour players to him, send all my juniors, really all my adults that are really serious about working out, and you wouldn't believe how easy the exercises are. The guy never uses weights. It's all about band training. It's all about single leg stability stuff. If you can't touch your toes, how in the world are you going to get somebody to stay in posture? Right? Everything that goes along, everything's connected. So, very, very important that if you don't know anything about TPI, mytpi.com is a great website that can give you a lot of information how to get certified and how you can start to really, I think, help your students a lot more. Video analysis we talked about. I know there's people on both sides, video's good, video's not good. If video's used correctly, I think it's excellent. Yeah, you can over video somebody, obviously, some things can happen that maybe confuse the student. I think it's important when you're using video to point out, what they're doing well, and also point out what are the couple of things you're going to work on. All right, don't spend time, in every single area of the swing to confuse the student. High-speed cameras, like I said, and they're also coming down, which is great. I mean, before they were $1,000, and we just got a couple of cameras for $250 that are just phenomenal. What we got from V1. K-Vest. Anybody heard of K-Vest? Anybody using K-Vest? Wow. K-Vest is unbelievable technology. I'm actually certified in K-Vest, even though I actually don't have the K-Vest yet. But it has really allowed us to study body motion. It's a sensors that they put on, basically 3D sensors that they put on the student, and it gives them positive and negative feedback depending on where they are and what you're working on, whether you set the parameters, however you want to teach them, whatever you believe in. It also has given us some great data from the tour. Right, there's PGA Tour averages of how much spine tilt is this way, or how much the average spine tilt forward and sideways, how much side bend, what's going on with the pelvis, and so forth. So it's really, really good stuff. When they start coming down on the prices, hopefully Dana will buy one. But it's a little pricey, but we're actually looking into that for this fall. Launch monitors. How many are fitting clubs at your club? I mean, you got TrackMan. How much does it cost? Everybody knows that, probably $26,000, $27,000. So another, TrackMan's probably changed the game more than anything else in the last 2 or 3 years, I think, as far as clubs and also golf or ball flight, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. But TrackMan is a game changer. So what's it taught us? The videos allow us to study, obviously, the best players in the world, but it's also allowed us to help our students, the worst swings in the world out there, that when you're going to help somebody. I haven't had any student to go, I just don't want to see the video. I just don't get that. Everyone wants to see what they look like. Obviously, you got to bridge the gap between field and rear. All right? Most people feel like they're doing one thing and they're not even close. So I call it the truth. It's just, you're either doing it or you're not. So videos, I think, is a must. And again, it has to be used properly. You have to be able to analyze what you want them to see and help them to understand. So 3D motions helped us to study the body. And with TPI, it's unbelievable. Now TPI is involved with K-Vest. It's really good. That's one of the things that I really learned at the seminar was, how an efficient swing looks. They show you the graphs. You've seen the TPI graphs. Basically the sequence of the golf swing and how that's supposed to work. I highly recommend you learn that. It's not about style. It's not about having perfect golf swings. It's efficient golf swings. That's what we're teaching. So if the body can't move, we can't produce efficient golf swings on our lesson tee. TrackMan's helped to study ball flight, and this is a game changer for sure. That's why I put the sound effects. Like that. True ball flight, all right? And this is one of the main things that I wanted to talk about today, because it amazes me how a lot of people don't know this yet. But as young professionals, when we were coming up through the program, we were taught what about ball flight? The path creates the starting direction of the ball. Club face creates a curve. That is not true. TrackMan has proved that is not accurate. That's what we talk about the D-plane. This is just a graph that you guys can go back and do a little bit more research as far as, probably can't see the names there, but this is a diagram of a push draw. So we're talking about D-plane, or the descriptive plane. It was just unveiled this year at the PGA Teaching Summit, and this is the most important thing I want you guys to get out of this seminar today, is understanding ball flight, where you can start to make the correct order of changes in your students, because this has really changed my thinking a lot, in the fact that you know, I might change club face first one time and path the next. So understanding that, I'll use my big club here. There we go. Okay. So the D-plane shows that the ball starts closer to the face than it does to the path. All right? 85% is a number that we're talking about when we're talking about solid contact, right? We're not talking about when you hit it on the toe or on the heel where we get gear effect, we get opening and closing in the face. But we're talking about solid contact in a level strike. All right? We're not talking about hitting down a certain time or hitting up a level strike. So if the path is at a different direction than the face, that's what creates the curve. All right? Now why is that important? How many times have you had a student, and this is probably a little bit rare as far as playing goes, that comes down way too much from the inside and the club face is dead closed and the ball pulls to the left? And what do they turn around and tell you? I just came over the top. Alright? They think they came over the top. So now they're trying to swing more to the right. Club face is twice as close as the path. Ball starts even more to the left. Okay? Same way is really how this has changed my thinking of, you know, path and face is if you got somebody that's coming over the top and the club face is a little bit closed, if the path is left of the face, the ball's going to fade. Okay, or the ball's going to slice. So immediately, 10 years ago, I would have been like, all right, I got to fix the face. All right, guess what? You just created a duck hook. All right, so you have to do a little bit of both. There was a really heated debate on Facebook about a month ago. We have a golf pro group that you guys need to get in on if you're teaching the game. Some brilliant minds in this group. But the question was, do you fix path and face first? And there was a bunch of, you know, the stacking tilters were all, you know, path, and then, you know, Brian Menzel and some of these other guys were all face, and we were having this big thing. I think I fall somewhere in the middle of those two things. I think you have to do a little bit of both, right? But you have to, if you're not teaching with TrackMan, which would be awesome, because you can see the data, you know that basically if I'm 10 degrees from in to out, and I got to get the club face 5 degrees open for that golf ball to finish at the target. Okay? Everybody wants to do what? Everybody wants to draw the ball. Right? But you have to help them to understand that the face has to be slightly open to the target line in order for the ball to finish at the target. The main thing is we got to get the path right at the face. Does that make sense? Everybody's looking at me. Drinking the fire hose here. That's all right. That's okay. You guys can go back and do some research on this. But I'm telling you, this is so important in your teaching because it's going to help you to make quicker adjustments with your students. All right, not create some unplayable ball flights because you're fixing one area or the next, and you should be doing the opposite. So, this was actually coined. You get this book. It's been out for several years by Theodore Jurgensen, Physics of Golf. So, the main thing is, like I said, there's a lot of factors that go into this that create, some of the ball flights. Friction, angle of attack, what club we're using, it's going to change a bit. So we've kind of figured out somewhere between 60 and 90% of where the ball starts relative to the face. But the main thing I want you to understand is the ball starts where the face is looking, closer than to the path. That's the big thing. All right. So if we got this going on here, we've got a problem. So it's it pushes. I got a diagram in there you guys will see of one of my friends, John Graham from Rochester, that's done a lot of research on this. And I would recommend, these are the slides, but go to johngrahamgolf.com. He's got some videos on D-plane that are very, very helpful. If you're like me and you're visual, I need to see it. I need to, really somebody explain it to me. So this is sort of the basics of the whole thing. So really, really important stuff.